Follow me, where do you want to go? Follow me, that's what Jesus said. Follow me, yeah, follow me, follow me. Miss Debbie here. That song's going to change every time. I don't know. Maybe I need to record it for myself and listen. Anyways, how are you? I recorded a message earlier, if you want to check it out, as Mom or Dad have things that I'd written about what happened at the Capitol this week. It was hard stuff, wasn't it? A little confusing, a lot of emotions going on in our city. I love this city. I love that we get to live here in Washington, D.C. together, and that we get to see what happens in our nation's capital. A lot of people are really passionate about things that are happening. So talk to Mom and Dad. Reach out to Miss Debbie if you need to. I'd love to talk with you about it. It's a lot, and I get it. But we know that Jesus is with us all the time. All the time. So today, though, we're going to continue in the book of Mark. Mark 8:27 through 9:1. Ooh, can't wait to see you there. Oh, okay, so is there a movie that you love, that you've seen like 1,000 times, that you could like say the words? Or maybe it's a book that you have read it so many times that you know exactly what page you want to get to. I remember when I would read Encyclopedia Brown books. Do they have those still? I don't know. But they're choose your own adventure. And you'd get to this one part in the book and you'd say, if you think this happens, go over here. But if you think this happens, go over here. Well, I always loved like certain parts. So I'd go over here all the time, even though I knew over here was probably the right answer. Or do you maybe like skip the scary parts or the stuff that's sad because you just don't want to deal with it or read it again? When we read the Bible, we know the end story, don't we? We know what happens. We know where Jesus is right now. He's in heaven. He's making a place for you and I. He's waiting for us to come, and he's going to come back and get us. Jesus' friends, God's people, they didn't know the end of the story. So they would hear things that Jesus would say and say, what? Whoa. Okay, so we're going to find out what happens here. So, in the beginning of our story here today, I'm looking for my marker. Do you see my blue marker? Tell me. Are any of these my blue marker? No, it's not my blue marker. I'll use the red marker instead. Maybe the black one. Okay, so Jesus asked his disciples, what did people say that he was? Like, what did they think about Jesus? So our first picture today is a question mark. They said, Jesus said, who did people say that I am? It's almost like a 2 with a big circle, right? Question mark. I'm going to fill this in. The disciples told Jesus that people thought he may have been like a prophet, like Elijah, or like John the Baptist come back to life. And Jesus then said, okay, but who do you say that I am? He asked his disciples. And Peter said, well, you're the Christ. Now, we know that Jesus is the Messiah and the Christ, right? The one who came to rescue us. But for Peter to say that, to say this is the Christ that God had promised all these years, was like, big deal. So big. So for us to say, Jesus, you are the Christ, we can say, yes, I can see it. Peter to say that was like, I think I'm going to tell you like the biggest mind explosion I've ever heard in my life. And it makes me go cuckoo. We know it's true, but for Peter, there's a big deal. So who is he? That's our big question first. So because the disciples said, hey, we know who you are. You're the Christ, right? Jesus began to tell them what was going to happen to him. He told them that he would suffer, that he would be rejected by the leaders, that he was going to die. And then he also told them that he was going to raise again from the dead. So for this one, we're going to do a picture of the tomb. So here's my hill with the tomb in the middle. And then I'm going to use my brown to make a rock. You ready? My big rock that the angels rolled away. So Jesus is telling them, this is the first of 3 times that he tells them what's going to happen. He tells them, I'm going to suffer, I'm going to be rejected and I'm going to die and then I'm going to rise again from the dead. You know, Easter, that's what this is, right? We know that. But the disciples didn't know any of this. When they heard that the Messiah had to suffer and like be injured and be spat upon and be rejected and die, they flipped out. Like it was as if someone had taken their favorite toy, or they had erased the game that they've been working on their computer for so long. They lost it. And they couldn't imagine how the one who was supposed to rescue them was going to die. That dying isn't rescuing. Or so they thought, right? So Peter gets up to Jesus and says, Jesus, you stop it. You stop talking like that. And Jesus looks and says, no, you stop it, Satan. Whoa. He said, you're only thinking of the things of this world. You are not thinking about things of heaven. I have a plan forever to redeem my people. And it's going to happen. So for this, we're going to put a stop sign. Can you draw a stop sign? It's 8 sides. This is how I figured out how to draw a stop sign. Top, bottom, the same, right? Side to side, the same. Then we make angled marks here. Oop, this one probably should go a little further. You know, if it's not exactly right, it's okay. And then I'm going to use my black marker here. I'm going to write stop. S-T-O-P. Stop. Jesus wanted to make sure that his disciples knew what he was going to do. That he was going to redeem them. He was going to rescue them. And he was going to come again victorious. That was his plan. From the beginning of time was his plan. To rescue us, Jesus had to suffer. To rescue us, he had to die. To rescue us, he came to this earth to help us out. Wow. Jesus called a crowd with him together and said, listen, this is what you need to do to follow me. And here's the thing, when he called the crowd together, it was to let them know that it wasn't just the leaders or the disciples or the fancy peoples who could know how to follow God. It was everybody. Everybody can know what it was to follow Jesus. And he says, if you want to follow me, you need to turn from your selfish ways, turn from the things of this world, pick up your cross and follow me. You know, that's what he's telling to us. We're part of that crowd, right? You know, we can all know how to follow Jesus. But what does that look like exactly? How does a kid like you give up the world for Jesus? Think about that. What could you give up that people tell you is better than Jesus so that you can follow Jesus? Maybe you don't get everything that you want. Maybe mom says, it's not the time right now. And you say, okay. Or maybe you help out your mom and dad even if you don't want to. Like if mom says, hey, you need to pick up your Legos. And you're like, instead of saying, I don't want to, you say, okay. Wow. Or maybe you can love your brother or sister even when they do what you don't want them to do. Like maybe you're playing your computer game and they hit a button on accident because, you know, maybe they got little hands like, ah, and they hit your computer board and then deletes your game. Oh my gosh. Or maybe a stack of papers and you know they're important for some reason. You leave them there and your little brother or sister comes and takes one and rips it. Goodness. Or maybe you stand up for your non-friends. Because that's what God would do. He loved his enemies. But you do that for Jesus. That's a lot, isn't it? How do you think we can do any of that stuff? You know, we can do it because of Jesus. Jesus did come to rescue us. He came to suffer for us. He came to die for you, and he came to raise from the dead for me. He came to love you. And because he loves you and us, we can lay down our life for him. We can pick up our cross. Oh, our last picture here. Hold on, our cross. We can pick up our cross and we can follow Jesus because he promises to help us and to guide us and to be with us the whole time. That's quite a friend. Quite a friend indeed. Hey, our Bible verse is the same one we had last week. Mark 8:29, and he asked them, "But who do you say I am?" And Peter answered him, "You are the Christ." Wow. Can you say that with me? Let's see. Maybe we cover up part of our paper here. And he asked them, "But who do you say that I am?" And Peter answered him, "You are the Christ." Did you get that? And Peter answered him, "But who do you say that I am?" Peter answered him, "You are the Christ." Okay, so friends, there's a video you can watch about my talking about what happened in the Capitol and what we could think about it. Mom or Dad has a paper that they can look at, or you can get it online. There is so much that happened this week. But even during this week, we can see that we can lay down the things of this world, pick up our cross, and follow Jesus. It's so important. And it's only possible with Jesus helping us, loving us, showing us the way, and being the one who enables us and rescues us. Ah, what good news. Friends, see you next time. Bye-bye.